Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right,
Steve.
So we have one vote for Elvis. All right, let's see if we can't counteract that. Good morning. To whom am I speaking?
He's starting already.
Good morning.
Wavy Davy.
Davey.
Yeah, I couldn't beat Steve. I tried to be the first caller today, but couldn't beat Steve. I'm going to vote for My Maria, hands down today.
All right.
I liked the other song, Elvis song. I'd rather have the B-side that he had, but that didn't have a girl name, so
Right.
Little Sister, I think it was.
Yep.
But Maria there, that one there is just, I always sing along with it when it comes on. It's just great. As far as jobs, when I was in high school, or younger, of course, everybody had a paper route. I mean, that was one way you could make money, and you weren't old enough to, work. Then I also worked at Cumberland Farm Store. I was only 14, but I could load the milk, and that back then it was glass jugs.
Yeah.
Back then, and when person would drop a bottle of milk on the floor, you'd have glass and milk, to clean up. But I had cousins that lived in Connecticut, and what they did in the summers, they worked the tobacco fields. Did you ever hear of that? Or I don't know if that's even still a thing these days.
Not around here.
They'd work in the tobacco fields. You ever?
Down south, sure.
Yeah, there was a few of those in Connecticut, though, like Enfield, Connecticut, around that area. Thompsonville was where.
We picked corn up here. They had tobacco fields down south. So
They still do.
Now, do they still have these tobacco fields?
sure.
So,
I think tobacco, much like corn, you have to pick it by hand.
Right, and that's what they did. It was a hot job. It was almost like picking cotton, right? But it was tobacco. But, that's about it for me for jobs. Before I became, because when I worked at the Cumberland Farm Store, you had to be 16, of course, to work, but you had to be 18 to run the registers, too, besides that, because you're dealing with money and stuff. So, but anyway,
all right.
That's my vote.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so you tied it up. Very good. Thank you, Davey. Good morning. To whom am I speaking?
You have Kenneth.
Kenneth!
Hey,
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine, and I like the beat of the Elvis song, but I'm going to vote for Maria because I like to sing along with it, and the words are much easier to hear. So I agree with my friend Dave on Maria.
Can you hit that high note?
Song has a good note. It has a good beat. I like the beat, but I can't really make out the words as much as I like, and I'm a big words man.
Well, look them up.
No, that's not when you're listening to a song. You're trying to get into the mood, and you're trying to get almost zoned out with the song. And I'm not looking it up. I will do that if I want to do research, but not if I'm just listening to the music.
No. But if you sometimes there's a couple lines in a song that you just don't quite understand. It really helps to look them up, and then they make sense. But
it's not a question of understanding them. It's a question of being able to make them out.
Oh.
And some of the Elvis songs are really easy to understand, especially some of his ballads. And I do like the beat and the rhythm, but I'm going to vote for Maria, and that is a wonderful song. And something that has been rubbing up in my mind is Jimmy Loves Marianne, because that happens to be my brother and his wife.
One of my favorites.
And I like that, and we almost never hear it.
I play it a lot. When I have a chance, I play it a lot.
All right. Well, I don't get to listen to you a lot because either I'm trying to sleep or I'm out. I'm out again to this morning for 10 o'clock.
Kenneth, we've had this discussion before. You have got to get your priorities straight.
I know. I have to keep canceling my morning appointments so I can spend more time listening to you.
All right. Well, there you go.
I'm not canceling Thursday. I'm going to be spending it with Dave.
So, okay. Well, you and Dave have fun.
We'll be at church together studying the Word of the Lord. And I know you don't go that way, but that's the way that we believe.
Well, again, priorities. So.
Oh, yeah, I'm my priorities. But I do enjoy spending time with you and talking to you.
All right, Kenneth.
And it's always interesting and friendly. It's never hostile.
You are one of my favorite Christians. So, we'll talk some more. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Kenneth. Take care. All right. So we're talking about jobs, but we're going to go to a break. We'll be right back, and you can cast your votes for My Maria by B.W. Stevenson, or his latest fame, Marie's the name of his latest flame by Elvis. And we will be right back.
OM Radio.
Are you looking for solutions to meet your business banking needs? At Milford Federal, the longest-standing community bank in the area, they offer customized solutions for commercial lending, cash management, online banking, and payment processing services. Their business banking team is committed to the growth and success of your business with local decision-making and a relationship-based approach. Let Milford Federal be your banking partner. Visit them at milfordfederal.com today. Milford Federal Bank, our community, your bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, and MLS number 465956.
As drivers, we encounter motorcycles on the road every day, and motorcycle safety is a two-way street. So give motorcycles extra space when stopping and starting. Check your mirrors and blind spots. Share the road, but never try and share a lane. Every rider could be a father, a son or a brother, a mother, a daughter or a sister, or the whole world to someone very special. Brought to you by the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association and the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association.
Massachusetts has approved a tax-free weekend, and only at Imperial Cars, you can get a discount equal to the state sales tax. Now through this weekend, get a discount equal to the state sales tax on all new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Click ImperialCars.com to shop and compare 7 brands and New England's largest inventory of thousands of vehicles. Check out our huge selection of vehicles under $15,000. Only at Imperial Cars, get a discount equal to the state sales tax. ImperialCars.com, we sell more because we have more.
All right, we're back, and we're going to do, quickly, we're going to do the show and tell version, and then we're going to get right back to the calls. Eddie, well, I guess I can do this here.
Yeah, you can do it.
Eddie's going to tell you about, this is volume 1 of Elvis' Greatest Hits Golden Singles. Tell us about it, Eddie.
That was released for his 50th anniversary in music. Gold vinyl 45s. His volume 1 and his volume 2. They're all gold vinyl records with picture sleeves.
These are, I love colored records. I just get all goosebumpy when I see colored records. So, just a couple more examples of Eddie's collection there. All right. We are going to jump to the call. Good morning. Who am I speaking?
Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, Moose.
Good morning, Moose.
Good morning, Fast Eddie, and good morning, Mr. Wallace.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. You are Gary's friend, I heard in the intro?
53 years, sir.
53 years, my goodness. My goodness gracious.
I gave him my condolences.
I'll give you a brief
Gary line there. He beat you to punch there, Gary.
a brief introduction to Bobby here. Bobby's brother Michael was one of my group of friends in high school. He was in the same class. Bobby was 2 years younger, which ordinarily we wouldn't have anything to do with anybody that young. But
right.
but Bobby endeared himself to us. He had a just terrific sense of humor. He actually prefer him to his brother, frankly.
Yeah.
And so we.
That's a certain charisma about him.
Bobby's just a great guy, and he comes from. He's a contractor, but he loves singing, and he was a DJ at one time, and he's had a varied career, which he will talk about periodically here, and hope to see a lot more of him after today.
Great. Yeah, you get that once in a while. You mentioned that. You get that once in a while. There's no way. There's a rule of law. You never, when you're a teenager, let somebody 2 or 3 years younger than you hang around with you.
Oh, no.
Unless he's got some kind of persona. And it seems like Mr. Wallace fits that bill.
He does.
Probably it's just somebody that has a sense of humor, personality.
It cost me $100 a week.
I beg your pardon?
It cost me $100 a week at the time.
And you're still paying, right?
In 71 money, yeah.
Yeah, it is. We took his lunch money.
Anyway, that's a nice little story there, Gary. 2 good songs, no doubt. No doubt. 2 good songs. Tough to devote
This is a really tough choice. I mean, I would.
It's hard to vote against.
I would have to flip a coin.
I love that song. The reason name is Late Spring. But I had to sing along every time I hear My Maria. I have to sing along. It's just, I love his voice in this. It's got great range. The song's got a good beat behind it. And I'm going to vote for that. I'm voting for B.W. Stevenson's My Maria.
All right.
This guy was a one-hit wonder, Gary. Did you know that?
You know, I've been trying to think of something else he did, and I couldn't come up with anything.
Did
so
he? You
that
know
does
why?
not surprise because there wasn't one.
He died in his late 30s.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
he died in his late 30s. So, anyway, I'm going to vote with for My Maria. It was Blue and Sorrow Times. But, I've got a commonality for you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And we'll start with Shawshank Redemption. The man who shot Liberty Valance and Mickey Rooney.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And we'll throw this out for you, too, a song-related question. What are the two songs in the mid-'70s that reached number one with the same title? They were two totally different songs.
71, same title, but two different songs.
The mid-'70s.
Mid-'70s, okay.
That reached number one. They had the exact same title, but with two totally different songs.
Should know
So
this.
we'll put those two questions up, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.
All right, very good. Okay, so Bobby thinks you know the answer to that?
It was on the tip of my tongue, and I think
We usually let the audience guess first, but
No,
since
no, no,
yours
go
said
ahead.
no, since you're... If you want to
go
throw
ahead.
out a guess, go
No,
ahead for your
no.
first day.
I haven't got it.
You haven't got it. All right. So let's tell us about one of your first jobs that I have a personal familiarity with.
Well, this one you'd have is because I worked for Gary's dad as a young man, and we worked hard. It was all the Smith brothers and Bobby. I was the tag along, so I had to make myself useful. And we were hauling brush. That's what we were doing, cutting, clearing house lots at the time. Gary's still in this business in that way. He's got a lot to do with the house lots, but we were. Yeah, I couldn't touch a chainsaw. I was too young. They wouldn't let me. All the big Smith boys would do that, and I would be hauling brush into the chipper with the earphones on. And I was just telling you about the deer flies eating us alive the other day when we first started talking about it. And I can still remember it. But he was I liked Maury. He was an even-tempered guy.
That's my father.
Yeah, very even. Maury, yeah, he was well liked in Mendon, but he do anything. He painted the town hall more. I did some of that. I'm sure that we were all eating lead chips then. That'll explain quite a bit, Gary. But we painted that at least twice, I think.
Yep.
It was a constant. I think it's still being done today.
First time he did it was in '66, and he did it two more times
Yeah,
after
well,
that.
I was a part of one, or if not both of those.
You were the next one after
yeah,
that.
and I think Brother Billy and a couple other things like that. But I worked at Lowell's Dairy. I don't know who did with all that group back then. We were really making ice cream in those days for Linwood. In Pot Lowell. Yeah. In fact, for that one, to go a little bit morbid on that, I was there the night that Putt was killed in that awful robbery in Mendon, that robbery murder. I was there that night, and I had to sit down with the FBI and go over all kinds of things. In fact, we were in the parking lot after work. He came over, as he always did at the end of the day, to collect money and close the place up, and we were throwing the football around, which was a regular thing for us to do. It was almost like the 50s, where our cars were, well, there was no cars, if I'm thinking. If we were that young, I think we were before that, but maybe one or two of us had a car. And throwing the football around, and that awful thing happened that night. That was a long time ago. But scooping ice cream, I mean, and we were a fry cook, fish and chips, anything that was coming out of Lowell's Dairy in the day. But I still remember the ice cream being made, homemade. I thought it was fascinating in the day.
I have one. I have one of those metal canisters that they used to mix it up in. somewhere.
Yeah.
I used it for a waste paper basket for years. I don't know where it is now, but yeah, there were lots of. Not only were there lots of job opportunities back then, but there were lots of kids looking for work.
Was well, in those days, it was very much of a blue collar town, and I have some grandchildren, some step grandchildren in the area, and they're working too. And my son makes them work, which is great. But not all kids work today as youth, and I think there's some real lessons there. But we had to hustle. We had to get our rear ends right to work. And I worked at New England Steakhouse, and with John Quirk up there, and bus tables, and was assistant cook over there at different times, or prep cook, I would say, which is just like in the Army, peeling potatoes really for the most part. I worked at what was on the lake there, Flame and Sword. Remember that restaurant, Gary?
Flame and Sword, we all worked
which
at.
was Lakeview, which was Lakeview Park.
Yeah.
Did you work there too? Did
No,
you?
I didn't.
Michael did too. So did David Moriarty's mother, who was David's been on the show.
I hired them all.
Oh, do you? No kidding.
Bill Green, who
yeah.
owned it, told me I had started as a dishwasher there,
Yeah.
and my friend Tommy Hodgson was there first,
Oh.
and then my mother got a job there,
Yeah.
and as a waitress, and then I got hired, and one day the owner came to me and said, "I want you to hire 6 of your friends tomorrow." It's from it's that I went to school with. So I went.
Was my brother Mike one of them?
He was.
Yeah,
He was.
yeah,
Yep.
yep.
So it was great because we were all, we were all friends, and if we had to work on a Friday night, which we did, or a Saturday night, and it was okay because we were all together. So we still had fun. So,
Sure.
but those were days. But I did that at night, and I worked the woodlots or painting houses during the day, and you just can't find kids to do that kind of work anymore.
No,
not white Americans anyway.
Yeah, our times was occupied, and in those days, every one of us was as thin as a rail. We just kept going. It was a different time, I think, But Mendon had a lot of opportunities for work, I think. I worked for Don Deitch too. Remember Don Deitch, a German gentleman from Upton on the Upton line there. Worked for him in the same thing. We were repairing barns. And we did a little bit of that with your father too, replacing rotten sills in barns. And I got to be in. We got some, you get some fantastic old antiques out of these things. They still have that taste today.
Well, and most importantly, you learned how to work, and that stood you well because you're a hardworking contractor these days, and you're slowing down a little bit with age, but you've been doing it a long time.
Yes, I have.
And so, what kind of jobs did you have when you were a kid and
When I was going to high school, I was working at night at Moose is going to know where this was, Ray Cotton. I worked at Ray Cotton my whole senior year at night.
You guys had all the mills. So
We had all the mills.
I'm sure they had plenty of job opportunities for young men.
Ray Cotton
And
was
women.
right where the Main Street bypass is now. That's right at the Rotary, down there. Right across from the bowling alley. Moose knows it. Moose must know it well. I worked there on the garnetting machines, making bales, little of everything.
What else did you do? You must have had other jobs.
No, that was the only one I had when I was a kid.
Really? Okay, you were just a steady guy. No wonder Murray married you.
No,
With their parents' blessing, as I'm told. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hard-working guy.
The
So.
father only told me one thing: don't bring her back.
Don't. Well, in the absence of any calls here.
What's
which
going
is-
on,
which
people
is
out there?
surprising.
Where are
I
you?
don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're just fascinated by the stories we're telling.
It's a rainy day. You should be in the house.
It's a rainy day. They should be in there listening to the radio. More importantly, you should be calling and voting for my song.
Oh, here he goes. He's ahead and he's begging already.
So, well, what is the score? We only have 2 votes, don't we?
No.
We have 3.
You got 3, I got 1.
All right. Well, we'll take this call, and maybe that'll tie it up. Good morning. To who am I speaking?
Good morning, everyone. It's Louise.
Hey, Louise.
Hey, Louise.
And welcome guest.
Thank you very much.
I had to pause and listen to your voice because a former neighbor of mine was named Bob Wallace, but not from the same area. I know the Bob Wallace of Pawtucket, but Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I'm voting for My Maria. I like the Elvis song as well, but like everybody else, it's just something you want to sing along with, and I like the lyrics. I especially love the line, "The sunlight surely hurts my eyes." I love that line, so I have to vote for that. And I just wanted to add to the conversation about summer jobs, and I've mentioned this before on the show, that probably only a handful of people can make this claim in the state of Rhode Island, that I worked in a yo-yo factory.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It was one of the few working mills in Pawtucket. It was actually a textile mill, but somewhere along the line, somebody got the idea to get the right to produce what was called Festival yo-yos, not Duncan yo-yos, but Festival yo-yos was the brand name. The mill was Union Wadding Company. It was on Gough Avenue in Pawtucket, and it was a very active mill into the mid-'90s. And I worked 4 summers there until I decided that I needed more experience in the field of accounting, because by then I was an accounting major at Bryant, and I needed more office experience. So I went around town looking for possible employment with accounting experience, and few people know this, but do you remember the Cherry and Webb stores?
Sure.
It was actually part of a conglomerate, Outlet Specialty Stores. Everybody remembers the outlet from Providence.
Yeah.
But some of the subsidiaries were the Outlet Specialty Stores, and it included Cherry and Webb, Terrain, which was, I think, in the Mid-Atlantic, and Phillips Bourne Flair. And all of their headquarters was in a little office off Armistice Boulevard in Pawtucket, and very few people knew that. And the entire corporate offices of Cherry, Webb, and Terrain, as they were known, was behind the Cherry and Webb store on Armistice Boulevard in Pawtucket, and I worked a few summers there. And I have to say it was my most fun job, because a former high school classmate of mine worked with me there, and every day she was so funny. I practically choked on my lunch every day, because she was just telling me stories, and she just had a flair for with the English language. So I just wanted to share that with
Well,
everyone.
it always makes it more interesting when you're working with friends, although my father always regretted leaving us kids alone on a job, because if you put one kid on a job, you'll get something done. If you put 2 kids on a job and you leave them alone, nothing gets done. So
That's probably true.
May I ask Louise one question?
Sure.
Did that yo-yo business, did that have its ups and downs?
Hey, that's my line.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
It was my. I worked with yo-yos, the people and the toys, and it was an up and down industry. Yes, it was.
Well,
But it was a lot of fun, and you learn things from that job, because if you don't mind, I like to give a shout out to the family of the late Helen Lewandowski. She was the stringer. In other words, we all had our jobs: the assembler, the stringer, the packer, the blisterer, the person who put the yo-yos on a card and heat sealed it. But my first encounter was with Helen Lewandowski, and I made the mistake of taking her chair. It's your first day on the job at 7 o'clock in the morning. Nobody was around, because Helen was getting ready in the ladies' room. So I was told, grab a chair. So I saw this chair. It was all, had padded cushions on it, and so I just grabbed it and pulled it over. And she came back from the ladies' room, and she looked like she was ready for surgery. And her fingers were all taped up with that medical adhesive tape, and I'm like, what's going on here? But that's how professional she was. She knew where she could get her blisters. She taped herself up, and she very politely told me, that's my chair.
Get
I
the
brought
hell
those
out of my
cushions
chair."
from home. For lesson number 1, don't touch anybody's stuff. And even though you think, oh, she's just a stringer in the yo-yo factory, this is her job. This is her territory. You don't disrespect that and you don't invade that. And on my best day, I could do 30 pounds an hour. She could do 60. And there were no scuff marks either.
Yeah.
And it was just incredible. She taught me the very important lesson, no matter what you do it well. Yeah, she was a stringer in a yo-yo factory, but man, she could put everybody else to shame. She had pride in her work. She did it well. Do simple tasks well, no matter what your job is. And I find that we lack that nowadays.
I agree 100% with that. That's it's almost like the old acting adage. There's no such thing as small parts. There's only small actors, and same holds with the job. So it's there's no such thing as a bad job. They're just bad workers. So it's
well. And with that, I realize now I made you late for a break. So
you did, and I got to get to the
much.
break. So thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Louise. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street in Woonsocket. This is ON AM and FM.
WOON Woonsocket.
Most automobile accidents, major or minor, are somewhat traumatic. They affect people's routine and employment, sometimes their health. That's why Michaud's Auto Body is committed to addressing all phases of accidents, including repairs, reports, rentals, and stress. They offer the full package. Their promise is to give each person all that they are paying for, and then some. Michaud's Auto Body on Privilege Street in Woonsocket, 769-1983.
Hey, Red.
Who, me?
Your face is beet red and you look like you're gonna pass out.
Well, I'm a little dizzy, but working outside in this heat, what are you gonna do?
You're in danger of heat exhaustion, my friend. And if you want to finish up this job today and get paid, you need to take a break in the shade and drink some water. Now, got it?
Yeah, but You
gotta stay safe and healthy to stay on the job, right?
That's true.
A message from the Rhode Island Department of Health and the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association.
This ONAM and FM forecast brought to you by Allstate Insurance, the Kara Benjamin Agency, 125 Eddie Dowling Highway, North Smithfield. Call Kara at 401-765-5000. Mostly cloudy skies today with a high near 74 degrees. Chance of rain, 60%. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, an 80% chance of showers and thunderstorms overnight. Wednesday's weather, another 80% chance of showers and thunderstorms, high near 70. Thursday, mostly sunny, high of 75. Friday, 90% chance of showers and thunderstorms possible, high of 74. Saturday, another 90% chance of showers, high of 77, wind gusts to 25 miles per hour. Sunday, partly sunny with a high of 79, and Monday, mostly sunny and 78.
Okay. We're just trying to think of Moose's commonality here, and I think I might maybe.
Think you got it?
Maybe, I don't know. I think it's Andy. Good morning. To my speaking.
It's Rob.
Hey, Rob. How's things up in Salem today?
Wet.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah.
We got a little Debbie coming down.
Yeah.
Debbie does New England.
It was. They started my roof yesterday. They were here till 7 o'clock last night trying to get as much done as they could. That was interesting.
Yeah, that's never fun.
Yeah, and they had two girls with them up on the roof doing the way. I was kind of impressed.
Two girls on your roof?
Two girls on the roof with the contractors.
Did they stop the leaking?
No, it wasn't leaking. It was just time to do the roof.
Oh.
Did your wife know it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maria is what I would go with.
B.W. Stevenson gets another vote.
Yeah. And one of my first jobs when I was a kid, I think it was 14. I worked at the National Guard base, cleaning Army trucks. They would bring the trucks, like the Deuce and a Half, up on two flatbeds, and I'd crawl underneath in rain gear, running a steam jetty to get the mud from underneath the trucks after they had done maneuvers. The sergeant would come in and look to make sure that I got all the mud. They'd give it the okay, then they'd take the truck off and bring another truck up. And that's what I did one whole summer.
Well, I think it's great that they gave you a job, but I really got to question why they weren't doing it themselves.
Why not have a kid do it?
Well, why not have the guys we're paying to do it?
Yeah, well.
So this is
I
true.
was getting paid.
Well, I know you were getting paid, but we're already paying those guys, and they're sitting around watching you.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. It was very interesting having all that stuff dump on me on hot days.
So did you learn anything other than the fact you don't want to do this for the rest of your life?
Military
Which is an important thing.
No. Work ethic. That
Yeah.
was about it.
Well, that's probably the most important thing anybody can learn is.
He learned what the bottom of a truck looks like.
There you go.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
What brand truck was it?
It was their entire fleet, the Deuce and a Half.
No, but what were they Dodges?
I don't remember. The pickups were Dodges. Remember that. But I don't remember what the Deuce and a Halves were.
They were probably Dodges too.
But
all right.
It was interesting. It was a lot of very interesting doing that summer. And then the next summer I went to work for the school department, and my job was to clean all the lockers and clean the walls. So I spent my whole summer scrubbing and washing stuff. So when I went back to school in the fall, I was very particular about people, and I'd see people with markers trying to mark things up. Because I spent my whole summer cleaning walls and lockers. And I'll tell you, you learn a lot about people because they don't always clean the lockers out. And you see what's coming out of, what you're pulling out of the papers and, all that stuff. So those are my two job stories, Gary.
All right, interesting ones.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Good morning. To who am I speaking?
Good morning, guys. Dave from North Providence. And
Hey,
Jim,
Dave.
how are you all doing today?
Hey, Dave.
So my choice is going to be for Maria.
Okay.
And
Elvis
my
is
first
getting
job
his
was
butt
actually
kicked here today.
I was a landscaper with my dad, but my first actual job was I was a dishwasher at 15 years old at the Hearthstone Inn in Seacon.
Well, landscaping is a tough job.
Oh yeah.
Now, between the two, which did you look forward to going to the most?
Well, I think I like to have my own job. My dad really didn't pay me per se, but I just worked with him. But have my own paycheck and having money in my pocket was really my favorite.
Yeah. Okay. I washed dishes too. Man, that was.
I forgot about that. I washed dishes too. I forgot about that job I had at the Elks.
300 meals a night, and it was there was a lot of dishes, a lot of pots and pans and dishes. I just remember the steam coming up, and just that dishwasher didn't stop rolling all night long.
Yeah, yeah. We had this place had a lot of banquets and weddings and gatherings and stuff. So it was constantly like trays and dishes and forks and knives coming through you, and you had to push it through that machine and get them back out there for the waitresses again, and for the cooks again. So it was not an easy job. But I have a couple of trivia questions.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. This comic character is celebrating their 100th anniversary this month. And
100
second
years
question.
this month. That's 1924.
Yeah.
It's either got to be Popeye or Felix the Cat.
Nope.
Nope. Neither one.
Nope.
How about Mickey Mouse?
Mickey Mouse? No. Mortimer Mouse? No.
Steamboat.
But this
Willie.
character is actually still in the comics.
Oh,
Not
really?
necessarily have their own comic, but they show up in a.
Is it a
they've been showing
cartoon
up in Dick
character
Tracy
or a
recently.
real character?
Comic strip character.
Comic strip
Comic
character.
strip
Well,
character.
that's okay. That doesn't necessarily
Right.
have to be a cartoon character.
Nope.
All right.
Right. And second question was a 1974 musical version of Othello. It was a film. Who was the lead actor, and who was the director? The title of the movie was not Othello, by the way.
74?
Yep. And Gary, you'll be surprised to find out who the director is, because he's one of your favorite actors.
Okay.
We'll get that done.
I don't
I'm
know.
going to pass it up to Jim, guys.
I don't know
Here you
if
go.
anybody's going to get that question,
Yeah,
but
I don't think anybody will get it.
I'm curious
See if the
as to
musical
the
guys
answer.
get it.
All right,
Okay.
very good. Thank you.
Here you go.
Bye, Dave. Good morning. To whom am I speaking?
I forgot to tell you about my jobs.
You never had a job that wasn't in a garage.
Bet me, you lose.
Oh, besides papers, selling papers.
Bet me, you lose.
Okay. Well, enlighten me, my friend.
Well, from the time I was 10 years old till I was 13, I sold papers on the steps of the old State House in Boston, which we know. And then I went, when I was 13 to 15, I got a job selling newspapers in downtown Crossing at the steps of Filene's basement, which was also the entrance to the Washington Street subway station, which is now downtown Crossing. And in between that, I worked at 333 Washington Street at a company called Charmin Optical, who was a wholesale optical distributor, and I worked there for a short time in 1973 before I got fired.
And why'd you get fired?
Just wasn't my thing.
Wasn't his thing. Working wasn't his thing.
I had
No, working was my thing.
I have a very successful friend who was a self-made millionaire, multimillionaire, and he said sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is to fire them.
Yeah, it wasn't a good fit.
Yeah,
and I was I was shipping. They never taught me how to pack properly, and it wasn't my thing. I didn't want to be there. The smell in the building, because there's a lot of plating companies, turned my stomach. I was just a reluctant employee.
Other than that, how'd you feel about the job?
I liked the people I worked with. My brother was there. My brother had been there for a
I
long
thought
time.
you said you liked the
and
people you work with. The hammerhead was there?
The hammerhead was there. I didn't see him too much. He was in the other end. But I like the hammerhead. He's my brother.
He ain't heavy.
He's
All right.
And, then when my best man's brother bought the gas station in late of 1972, and I started working there in 1973, and I worked at several different garages from there, but my early years, that's what it was.
Made you the man you are today.
Absolutely.
For whatever that's worth.
Whatever. If you need something, it's worth a lot.
Yeah.
But right now, you must not need anything.
That's right. That's right.
I know how that works.
So, all right.
I'll see you around 11.
We'll see you around 11. Bye-bye.
Okay.
We got to go to a break. We'll be right back.
First news, best music. This is ON Radio.
There's an old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Don't get fooled again, Woonsocket. I'm John Ward, and I've been working for you and only you for 25 years now. 2 years ago, Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt was removed from office for good reason. She angrily came back with a team and tried to have the city spend way too much money buying a piece of land from her friend. This recent report proves it, and in shame, she had to quit. Now she wants her hand-picked mayor to stay in office while much of her team is leaving. Slow audits, overvalued properties, and now private information released. Have you had enough yet, Woonsocket? I know I have. I'm John Ward, and I'm running to be your mayor. There's no room for cronyism that keeps costing you money. This embarrassment must stop. Want to know more? Visit wardformayor.org. I'd appreciate your vote September the 10th. We're better than this.
Paid for Friends of John Ward.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
This ON AM and FM forecast is brought to you as a public service of Henry's Auto Repair, 1068 Park Avenue in Socket. You need an auto mechanic who cares. Call Bill at 762-2325 and tell him about the noises your car's making, the lights that are on, or maybe you just need an inspection. Henry's Auto Repair, 1068 Park Avenue, Woonsocket. Mostly cloudy skies today with a high near 74 degrees. Chance of rain, 60%. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, an 80% chance of showers and thunderstorms overnight. Wednesday's weather, another 80% chance of showers and thunderstorms, high near 70. Thursday, mostly sunny, high of 75. Friday, 90% chance of showers and thunderstorms possible, high of 74. Saturday, another 90% chance of showers, high of 77, wind gusts to 25 miles per hour. Sunday, partly sunny with a high of 79, and Monday, mostly sunny and 78.
All right, we're back. Let's get right to the calls. Good morning. Who am I speaking?
Hey, guys. Back at you.
Yeah, Moose.
Hey, Moose.
Yeah. Hey, Gary, your guess on the commonality is correct.
Very good.
Yeah, we got Andy Hardy, we got Andy Devine, and Andy was the name of the character in...
Andy Dufresne.
Andy
Yes.
Dufresne. Very good.
Sure. Very well done. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very much. The comic character, I don't know. 1924. Oh, my goodness. 1924. First name that came to me was yours, Fast Eddie Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
But he said it was a comic character, so it's not a cartoon character. I don't know. Batman? That sounds too Superman? Trying to think of comic characters, but I have no idea. The movie with Othello. Now, Bobby said is one of your favorite actors.
Was one of my favorite actors directed it.
Oh, directed it. Oh, here I am diversifying to the Othello to Hamlet and Richard Burton. Now, I guess that's certainly not what he's looking for.
No.
No, that's not what he's looking for. So I don't know about that. As far as jobs are concerned, I had to quit when I was in school. I couldn't go to. I had to quit. You know why? I couldn't finish high school because I had to support the family. We had to support the family. I think everybody's familiar with kind of families that had to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore.
That certainly doesn't happen anymore. It's uneven heard of. Somebody would tell you, "What are you talking about?"
And you know, we always talk about the good old days, but you know that wasn't one of the good old
That was
days.
not, my friend. I could tell you millions of stories. Fast Eddie can relate to it because he lived in the same village or area that I did, and that area was very, very much of families living in poverty.
That's right.
All the time. But and then I attained my high school diploma later on in life in a year of college. But I always thought there was a system to any job, every job, from washing a floor to maybe being an accountant, as Louise said, and trying to figure somebody else's taxes with 13 dependents or something. You know, there's always a system to every single job. There's an order of every single job. Doesn't matter what it is. So I'll throw that out there. I'll leave you with this. The two songs that were number one in the mid-'70s with the same title, but are two totally different songs. No Bites?
No.
Should I leave it on the table, Gary?
Sure.
All right.
Leave it on the table.
And I'll leave you with this one as well. Tell me the TV host for 16 years, 65 to 81. 65 to 81, a very popular television show, a variety show. He scored a top 10 hit in 1966. That's right. He went to the pop charts and scored a top 10 hit in 1966. Television host from 65 to 81. And we'll leave you with that. And Mr. Wallace, nice hearing your voice and endearing us with your stories. Very interesting, sir.
All right. Thank you, Moose.
You bet.
Good morning. Who am I speaking?
Hey, it's Jim in Pawtucket.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, and boy, you cut me off. Dave was handing me the phone. I'm starting to talk. I'm like, why don't I hear anyone? He already went to another call.
Dave said goodbye.
No, he said goodbye to himself. He was going to hand me the phone.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. My apologies.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm in protest. I'm going to vote for your song, but I'm doing it in protest. And since everyone's given away all their first jobs, so my first job was actually recommended by my high school principal. I went to Shea High School, and at the time they needed a couple of kids to work at the Pawtucket School Department for the summer. And so later that day, me and the other kid, he drove us to the Pawtucket School Department. We had like 10 or 15-minute interviews, and we got jobs. And so what I used to do is from 6:30 to 3, I would work in the basement at the time at the old school building, and we were in charge of all the inventory. So all the textbooks that were coming in, all the pencils, all the pens, all that. And so we set up a system where we loaded the truck up at around 6:37. I went with a custodian who worked a day, and we took the school van, and we went around all the schools, dropping off all the school supplies during the summer.
All right.
So that was my first job.
All right.
Okay.
I want to, you mentioned that, and I'm just going through my mind here that, remember guidance counselors? Did you ever have a guidance counselor?
Yeah.
I want to hear from anybody who ever actually had made a career out of the job that the guidance counselor led you to or referred you to or had any influence on. I wonder if there's any such thing. 'Cause there's so many jobs out there. There's so many jobs out there that you don't even know exist when you're 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old. You don't even know these jobs are out there, and we end up doing them.
Well, I actually made all my decisions when I was like 8 years old, and I actually got a college degree in it and everything. I did it for about 15 years, so the kind of helped me like just guide me through, like make sure I got the grades and everything. But I mean, fortunately, I already knew what I was going to be when I was 8 years old, so I can't say anything. I'm just not in the industry anymore, but I mean, I did kind of like get my dream come true. So.
Well, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to let everyone go so you can get more callers.
Very
Thank
good.
You guys. Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good morning. Who am I speaking?
Hey, morning, gang. Armin calling.
Hey, Armin.
Hey, Armin.
All right, you got to vote for Elvis here. His latest flame.
Yeah,
Great song.
Elvis needs your help today.
Yeah, it's a great song. Of course, we talked about this one. It was initially a Del Shannon song, which I did listen to it back when we earlier talked about it. He did not do a good version on it, Del Shannon, but
I didn't know Del Shannon did it.
yeah, I listened to it a long time ago. I think we talked about this subject, and it was not a good version. But the other song's great also, My Maria with the high voice. Brooks and Dunn, the country duo, also did a great version of that years later. Yeah, I got that song, that two different title, same title. I think it's the Eagles, Best of My Love, and the Emotions, Best of My Love.
Yep.
I don't know if they hit number one and all that kind of jazz, but
I think you're right.
it's I think that's it right there. And Wavy Davy with the Cumberland Farms. I don't remember the glass jugs over there at all. I mean, I'm a little bit younger than some of you guys, but don't remember that at all. I don't know when the glass jugs went away. That's pretty interesting right there. But yeah, one of my first jobs was, of course, my father was a mason, so I had to help him out on Saturdays. And
So you know what work was like.
yeah, and that's the kind of work that I did not like at all. It was all grunt work. Of course, I didn't know anything about it. You're just mixing cement and carrying bricks and cobblestones and rocks and whatever.
I worked for a mason on one job. He was an old friend of my father's. He was a pretty old guy back then, and it was just down the street from my house. And I was probably 15. I didn't have a license, so this worked out because I could just ride my bike, a half a mile down the road. And he was doing a chimney, but he didn't have a decent ladder. And my job was to put mix up the cement or the mortar and put it in the hod and carry it up this ladder that was held together with baling wire and little pieces of wood and nailed together, and it was just rickety thing. And I didn't want to admit to this guy that I was scared to death, so I just kept on doing it, figuring every time I climbed that ladder, I thought it was going to be the end of me. I thought I was going to end up on the pile with a bunch of mortar on my head, and I would be dead. But I did it anyway. Young and stupid, and but we got through it. And every time I go by that 3 times a day, 4 times a day, and I look at that chimney and said, I helped build that. So
yeah, another poor job was the big cement, like a driveway, wheelbarrowing the cement around. When the truck comes, because you got to move quick.
You do.
And it's usually not near where the truck is, so you're hauling a wheelbarrow of cement like far away. So in the backyard or something, that was not fun either. But my real one of the first professional jobs that I had was Hasbro. Many people worked there on the old assembly lines, and it was pretty interesting. You know, just like people remember Lucy and Ethel with the chocolate thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was pretty. You know, it wasn't all that fast. You know, it wasn't brutal, but I do remember. You always remember the worst ones. One was I was on it for a couple of days. There was like a plastic tray coming on the assembly line, and everybody was snapping in one little couple pieces of whatever into the tray, the toys. And I was at the end of the line, had to take it off of one assembly line and swing it to the other assembly line for additional work. And that thing was just flying. And if you messed up, all the trays were like popping in the air, and it was brutal. I remember my stomach was just killing me. You know, there was no breaks. It was just coming constantly. So that was one of my worst memories there. But it wasn't all bad. Of course, it was second shift back then.
So which job did you prefer, that job or the hauling cement in the wheelbarrow?
No, I knew that was not going to be my career. That was a lot of hard work.
Well,
and, you know,
I think it's important for kids to do these things, so they
or at least helping out with the hard work. It was nothing wrong with it, but I didn't know the technical aspect of it, but it was hard work as a high school kid. Some of these guys were really in shape from doing that day in and day, daily, so they could do it in their sleep. But for a young kid just going to school or something, you were not in that kind of shape compared to some of these other guys that were doing it all the time. So that's my story on that.
All right, very good. Thank you, Armin.
Thanks for the time. Thanks.
All right. Good morning. To whom am I speaking?
Good morning, guys. Dave from North Providence again. How are you?
Hey, Dave.
Dave.
I probably worked with Armin at Hasbro at that period of time. So I used to actually supply the lines and worked in different aspects there. So we probably passed each other on the lines.
Did you start?
I got the answer.
Did you start your toy collection back then?
Yeah, actually I did. Well, I started. My mom actually worked there when I was a kid, so she actually brought a lot of stuff in. Like she brought a lot of G.I. Joes home and stuff like that. So I have a lot of those original ones.
All right.
Yeah, but I get some answers for the trivia questions I had.
All right.
The comic strip character celebrating their 100th anniversary, and I say Annie, Little Orphan Annie.
Little Orphan Annie.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. And the 1974 musical version of Othello was a movie called Catch My Soul, starring Richie Havens, and directed by Patrick McGowan.
Ah, interesting. Very
Yep.
interesting.
Never would have got that.
Yeah, I've been watching on YouTube. There's a couple of pages called Grindhouse movie trailers, mostly all like movie theater and drive-in movie trailers, and there's like hours and hours and hours. And I've been seeing movies that I'd never heard of before, like Lee Marvin and Toshiro Mifune, called Hell in the Pacific, where they have to work together on the Pacific Island during World War II. Amazing trailer, a lot of different movies that I've never heard of. Early Gene Hackman movies I've never heard of, like Rhinoceros and Chrysler Fortune has a cousin in the Bronx. I mean, really obscure stuff that you never would have heard of before or has never been re-released. So it's kind of cool watching these movie trailers, seeing these actors in previous roles that you've never heard of before.
All right, that's cool.
Yep. So, especially, did you say you watched one recently, Hells Angels on Wheels, Gary?
Yeah, I know I've seen it.
Yeah, that was actually one of the trailers I saw the other day, and made me think of you. So,
speaking of movies, I saw a horrible movie. You're familiar with Johnny Weissmuller, of course.
Yeah.
And his Jungle Jim movies. Well,
oh yeah.
Well, he did this movie. He did this movie where these people wanted to collect a gland from a very rare particular animal in Africa, and it was obviously filmed in California because they don't have rock formations like they have, in Africa, and the natives were all dressed in Polynesian garb, which was just a third mistake in this thing. But the animal that was so rare was called a bano or something like that. And what they took a herd of Mustangs, like 20 Mustangs, and they painted stripes on the neck and on the rump, and it was so obvious. It was so blatantly obvious what they were doing. And it was just so bad. I still had to watch it because it's like watching a train wreck. But it was just, what were they thinking? You know? Because I saw a couple Jungle Jim movies that weren't so bad. But this one was dreadful.
It all depends on the studio. If it was like a Republic studio or something like a low-budget studio, they had nothing to work with, so that's what they did.
I'll tell you, they had nothing to work with here, and they used it all.
Crazy.
So,
that's crazy.
All right.
I saw another trailer recently. It was a movie called The Naked Ape with Johnny Crawford and Victoria Principal. And it's all about a young couple learning about each other and getting married. But again, I never knew Johnny Crawford had an adult acting career, you know?
I saw him in a movie with two girls one time. I think they were bank robbers or something. That was they had a lot of nudity in it. So yeah,
I saw that trailer too just recently. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah.
Johnny Crawford, did he not just die a few years ago, maybe?
Yeah. He passed away. But very interesting watching these old trailers for these movies and seeing things you've never heard of before. So
that brings up kind of not a really important subject, of course, but childhood actors who he had a great series for a long run. And then when that was done, he took what he could get for work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He did what was that movie about the Giants? Village of the Giants. With Bo Bridges and Ronnie Howard back in the 50s and 60s. So kind of like and Tommy Kirk was in that too. But like a beach party movie almost. But anyways, I'll let you guys go.
Okay. All right, very good. We're going to take one more call, and we're going to call it a day. Thank you, Dave. Good morning. Who am I speaking?
I think Moose might be looking for Wink Martindale.
Wink Martindale.
He did that song about the deck of cards.
Okay.
I don't think so.
And I don't know if that was 1966, but that might be what he's looking for. So that's it. I'll see you in a bit.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow, and that'll do it for us today.
I got one more thing I got to say.
Go ahead.
I thought of a job I did. I didn't think of it as a job, going out and get a job. I worked for the neighborhood youth corps in the summertime, and they gave us jobs in the schools. And some kids had to help carpenters put in the new gym floor. I was working with a carpenter that we were putting in floors in a junior high. We had a chalk mark every inch going one way and a chalk mark every inch going the other way. And everywhere where the chalk marks crossed, you had to put a nail. So I did that for a while. Then they sent me over to the high school to buff the floors, and that was where I ended up. That was the preem job, just buffing the floors in a high school.
You didn't get carried away like Jerry Lewis and
No. You didn't get dirty. The kids that really got the bottom of the barrel were sent to Barryfield to paint the chain link fence with aluminum paint.
Ah, yes.
They come back to the school because they get picked up and dropped off. They come back to the school. They look like they had silver freckles. I mean, they were covered in paint.
Yeah, they probably used a brush instead of a roller.
Oh yeah,
a roller would have made it so much easier.
And they're probably standing across from each other doing it.
Yeah. I remember doing that. And my friend Al Consigli in Upton, he built this what ended up being a kind of a premium used car dealership, but he hit the big garage in back. He built all this out of used materials, and the steel trusses that he used for the big garage in the back was all like flash rust on it, and it needed he wanted to paint it with the silver paint. And so my job was to go up there, and I can't remember if I did it by hand or if I sprayed it, but whatever it was a long time ago. Whatever it was, I came out looking like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
It was nasty.
It was something.
And that paint was nasty too.
I lied to you earlier. I'm gonna take one last call, and then we are definitely done. We got to get out of here. Good morning. To whom am I speaking?
Oh, you are one lucky boy. I don't know how Brother Steve got in 3 times, and I couldn't even get in once.
Well,
that's how busy the phone has been. So, Steve, from now on, you get a 1-limit call. That's it.
You tell him.
And he knows. No, he knows.
You tell him, sis.
Well, you told me that the phones weren't going to be busy. I better call in for me. What's going to happen? So anyway, here I am. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Eddie.
Hi.
Bobby's left the room. So.
Oh, Bobby, bye.
So.
So does it matter? I'll vote for your song.
Yeah, you can vote for it. What's the score, Eddie?
9-2.
And I'll. What is it?
9-2.
No, 8-2.
8-2.
Oh wow.
My
And I'll
Maria
say-
by
I'll say
B.W. Stevenson is the clear winner today.
Apparently. I'll save my work stories for another day.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably do more of the same tomorrow since we running out of time here, and it looks like people have more to talk about. So.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye bye.
Okay.
All right, and with that, we're going to say goodbye, and
See you tomorrow.
we'll be back tomorrow with more of the same.
WOON Woonsocket. This ON AM and FM